Hello and welcome to this tutorial. I hope you'll be excited and I hope you will learn many things from this tutorial. Right, so basically for this tutorial I have used a 3D model to do a multipass compositing in After Effects. We have been doing multipass compositing in the post-production module, and we have used Nuke for that, but I think it's interesting to know how to do this in After Effects as well. So for this I have used this model from this website. So basically I just downloaded this, and what I got was a few files like these, textures and the model. The textures were not properly connected and so on, and so I had to, this was what I got initially out of the box. And if I do a quick render, this is what you get. So basically there are no reflections, no color, not much. The windscreen and everything else is, so all the other windows are pretty rubbish, they don't look proper. Okay, so I had to do a bit of 3D work for this tutorial, and what I basically got was this. I'm not going to render this because I will be overriding some file and I don't want to do that, but yeah, just let's start the tutorial and I'll show you what we get. Right, so what you get are these three files, right? So firstly we'll just import them in. I forgot to show you how I exported the file, because this is very important. Yeah, so from 3ds Max, when you have the model, you have to know how to export the files, and I think the simplest way is to use OpenEXR, and that's exactly what I did. So basically you just go into the Common tab, and obviously you make sure you've got a render here, something like Mantle Array or iRay. It's not compulsory, you can use the scanline renderer as well, but I use this because I think it's better, basically. Right, so when you save your file, you have to select EXR from here, and into the render element, here, yes, you have to add all of these. So basically you tell 3ds Max, these are all the things that I want you to include into my exported file, basically, right? So when you add these, you then go to Common, and when you save your file, you select OpenEXR, and then you will be given access to setup. So you add them here again, right? You select all of them. You click OK, and basically these are all the things that I want to export in with this EXR. You click OK, and then you name your file and you export them, and all the passes that you selected will be included in your EXR. Because if you use any other type of file, basically for every single pass it will create a different file. So if you have 50 frames or 100 frames and 10 different passes, you will have 500 files, right, just for 10 frames. So it will get crazy pretty soon. So very easy is to use OpenEXR. It includes all the passes into one single file, right? So that's what I did here, and this looks much better than the original. Okay, so I've just downloaded one image, simple, nothing too complicated, but I think it would work for this tutorial. And there are two EXRs. So one of them was with this green plane underneath the model, just for the shadows. So we get the shadows. If I would not have used anything, we would only have gotten a model basically, right? So we just let's select all of these three files and add them to After Effects, right? And now we can create our composition, and let's name the composition, I don't know, reg compositing or advanced compositing or multipass compositing, whatever you want. Square pixels, 920, 1080, HD TV, 1080 here basically. Square pixels, yeah. Okay, so we click OK. We've got our composition here, right? So we can start adding the files. First one, obviously, the background. We don't have to change anything apart from the scale, because you can see it's a bit smaller, right? So that will be fine. Now we can, let me check the position as well, actually. Yeah, okay. Let's add the shadow, Touareg shadow, right? So what we get is this huge thing here, right? I think we should reposition and scale this. So let's do, I've actually got a few numbers here which I'll just use. 1172 by 700, and I used the 63% scale. I think that works fine for this. Alright, and I apologize in advance for the windows. They don't look really realistic. I've tried, but it was a bit complicated, so I just gave up. But yeah, if you want to make it better, I can give you access to my 3ds Max file and you can play with it. Okay, so let's go into add a few effects to this. Firstly, of course, we need to use the key light, because this is what's going to help us get rid of the green, right? All the green. So we take this and we select the green, and the green goes away. The gain, I think it's best for this, is 109, and this 100. Okay. Then we can just forget about this. Okay. Next one is a brightness and contrast. Brightness and contrast effects, and for this I've used the -24, -24, right? Why? Because this looks very saturated, very bright, and it doesn't really fit into the scene. I think this is desaturating things a bit. It's a bit less contrasty. It blends a bit well in the environment, right? So that was why I used this, right? Oh, and yeah, let's duplicate this, and we can basically get rid of these two. And for this is kind of the point of using Multipass, because we can extract different channels by using this effect from the 3D channel group of effects, right? So if you use Extractor, which is included in the CS4 and later versions of After Effects, if you use this, we can basically click here and we can take the shadow. So red, for the red channel we use the red channel, for the green channel we select the green, you guessed it. For the blue channel we select the blue shadow, right, and alpha. Yeah, simple enough. okay, right. The rest of the settings will just keep them the same, right? And also I've used the simple choker to kind of choke in the shape of the shadow, right? Because we don't really need all this garbage around it. Simple choker, let's chuck this there, and I have used the magic number of minus 0.71. Okay, I know it doesn't look too good, but have faith, yeah. Simple choker, and then let's do another one, matte choker, right. And for this there are a few numbers. So geo softness 1, we'll keep that at 0. Choke 1 is going to be 64. Okay. Gray level 1 is going to be 22, and choke 2 is 40. Alright, and gray level softness to here is at 6%. So it's a bit harsh now at the moment. It's a bit really hard edged, isn't it? Yeah, but we'll fix that. We'll fix that with a, guess what, Gaussian blur, the most obvious one. And the magic number is 3.8. Okay. Now let's add the other file that we had, which is the Touareg 2. Right. Let's drag this into the timeline. All right. And of course we have to go to effects. Of course, let's modify the settings. Sorry. So scale and position, right? And the magic numbers were 1172 by 700, and the scale is 63. So it just matches exactly, right? We can get rid of these. And so of course for effects we're gonna use again from the 3D channel, we're gonna use extractor to extract some files. So we're gonna extract the diffuse. So for this, the effect that we'll obtain by using this diffuse channel is that we can basically change the color, the hue of the car to whatever you want. It's just after the fact. You don't really have to go to your 3ds Max or Maya or whatever program you use. You just use that diffuse channel and you change the hue to whatever you want, right? So let me show you how it works. So for the red channel here, green, the diffuse for green is green, the diffuse for blue is blue. Oh, blue here, and diffuse for alpha is here. Correct, RGBA, yeah. Alright, cool. So once we do this, of course we have to change the mode, because we don't want to modify the whole thing, right? We just want to modify the hue. So we just select hue. Okay, once it reads that, we can add an effect. Right? Oh, okay, I have to select that. And this. Maybe not. CC color offset. Color offset. Have to select the file first, obviously, and then we can input some numbers. So for the red, the number is 173. Of course, you can use any hue you want. It doesn't really matter. Anything is valid. Anything is fine as long as you're happy with the color. I'm happy. but I just used the number that I liked, basically. And I used the overflow. I used the wrap version because it's the solarized. It looks a bit weird. Doesn't seem to, but when I first used it, it looked weird anyway. Right. So that's basically it. I mean, I can modify the color to anything, but yeah, just do whatever you want. And then we need to, because this doesn't really fit into the environment, right? We have this very, doesn't really has, it's very different in color, in hue and brightness and contrast, and it's not really easy to match those two, right? And so for that I will be using an adjustment layer, and what I'll use is an effect called CC Toner. CC Toner, yes. And from this I use the Pentone, and the blending percentage with the original is 33%. And it looks a bit retro, it looks a bit, I know, but you can change the colors to whatever you want. I like it this way, and I think it fits much better with the environment. Everything is kind of the same color, basically. It doesn't really stand out as much, it looks much better. And then just to do something else, I'll create a solid for a vignette, basically, right? So we'll create a vignette as well, because I like vignettes. So black background, okay. Mask, ellipse tool, and I'll create my vignette. I don't know why it doesn't work to hold the shift and to enlarge it from the center outwards, because it used to work in the previous versions, but it doesn't seem to work in this one. It's a bit weird and annoying, but we'll live with it. So basically, this base needs to be inverted, and we can increase the feather to whatever you want. I think I used about 75 pixels, yeah, something like that, or even more. No, more, definitely more. And yeah, maybe I think transparency that I used was about 75%. Yeah, more or less, right? I think that looks alright, or even less than that, it's a bit more subtle. It's up to you as well, obviously. So yeah, basically that's kind of the tutorial that I wanted to show you. Of course, I have included in the extractor, there are all of these other passes. Oh, not here. This one. There are all of these passes that you can use to modify so many things. I haven't really used all of the things that is Z depth, for example. If you have different objects into your scene, you can create a depth, and you can use that to blur to a specified amount. So you can increase your, you can have a shallow depth of field or deep depth of field, and you can control that how much, right? You can control the lighting into your scene, and so many other things that you can do. But this is just an introduction, basically, to the concept, and I think you'll be very pleased to know that you can do this in After Effects. You don't really have to go to Nuke if you're not happy with it, if you're not too comfortable with it. Yeah, so this works pretty well. Yeah. Alright, enjoy. Bye.